I'm Chip Reichard, Sandler Training. I don't know, how many people here are familiar with Sandler? Anyone here? Wow, holy cow, okay. This will be a quick seminar. Actually, we're doing a 1-hour seminar, so I understand, that's a challenge for me because I usually do 2-hour seminars, so I'd have to have Chris flag me down if I start going a little bit too long. But why don't I start with what my goals are for today that hopefully link with your goals. And number one, kind of like Chris said, kind of piggybacking off that, one of my hopes is you walk out of here with some new insights about sales and what happens in that whole sales process that maybe you didn't have before today. And secondly, maybe you walk out of here with some new approaches and new ways to deal with the new insights that you have and maybe tweak some of what you're doing process-wise. So does that sound fair as a start? So I put a title up here because this is always a lot of the clients that I work with, and I work with people in a lot of different industries, a lot of high-tech people, but I've worked with attorneys, accountants, financial planners, architects, people you wouldn't think sell. So my next question is, show of hands, how many people here actually do have to sell to survive? Just so I have a sense. So this is kind of an important topic to you then. Because usually sales, the more we sell, the more revenue that comes in. The more revenue that comes in, how many people are happier when they have a nice big number at the end of the month? Usually feels pretty good. So if there was a way that you could learn some ways to tweak what you do to maybe sell more in less time with less pressure, would that be beneficial? Because I think that's a big part of how many people feel pressure when they're in that sales role for those number of hours a week that you're actually in that sales role. How many people actually feel it here? You feel pressure. And that's a big part. I know I felt it. How I got into sales, I graduated college with a BS degree in marketing. What kind of jobs do you think guys with BS degrees in marketing get? Sales jobs, right? There's no marketing jobs. I just couldn't find them. So I reluctantly went into sales. Guess how many classes in 4 years of school, taking 5 classes a semester, 2 semesters a year, who's good at math? How many classes is that? A lot, exactly. That was the answer I was looking for. So a lot of classes. Marketing degree, a BS, guess how many classes in sales? 0. Not one class in sales. So the 4-year investment of time, money, and effort really didn't prepare me at all for the career I took coming out of college. And I don't know how many people like me can relate to that. So somehow, by osmosis, I guess, we're supposed to learn how to sell, right? And then I got hired by a really good company. My first job out of school was, anyone ever hear of Burroughs Corporation? Anyone here ever hear of Unisys? Unisys is really what Burroughs is today, but they were at the time when I took the job the second largest computer manufacturer in the world. And the nice thing was they hired people like me, kind of raw recruits that really didn't know anything about computers, didn't know anything about sales. Perfect hire. They said, okay, we're gonna have to invest in these people. That's why I took the job. I said, these guys are gonna invest 2 years in me, not only to learn computers, which I thought may be an up and coming thing. When I went to school, no one had a computer. Even small businesses didn't have computers when I started. I know I don't look that old, but actually it was last century when I did this. And so they sent you to training, but guess what kind of sales training? Guess what they taught us in sales training? They taught us about the products, the features, the benefits, and how to present. How important are those things? They're very important, right? You got to know that stuff. But what do you think they were missing in what they taught us? What's your number one pressure in sales? I may have to help you with that, but closing. What maybe even more pressure than closing?
Dealing with rejection.
Dealing with rejection, right? How much do they teach in college on how to deal with rejection? Not a lot. How about this one? How many people lie awake at night thinking about their pipeline of prospects? And the fact that, God, there aren't enough of them, they're not big enough, and they're not qualified enough. Anyone here ever have that feeling in the pit of your stomach? God, I wish I had more qualified prospects on a regular basis. And but they didn't teach us that. So you come out of school, I learned all the stuff. I could do an unbelievable presentation on the features and benefits of the computer, and then they threw me to the wolves. They basically said, okay, Chip, your territory is Patterson, your industry is manufacturing, they're easy to find. Those are those buildings with smokestacks. And back then, they actually had smoke coming out of them. And it really was not, if you ever went to Patterson in the late 70s, the air was horrendous. I mean, it was the garment industry and dye houses. So they used to import fabric, and these big companies would dye this stuff, and they said, go sell them. And those people weren't the happiest people when you knock on their door. It was kind of like having dogs attack you. Sometimes there were literally dogs attacking us. So I didn't have a lot of training in how to go hunt, how to find prospects, what to do with the rejection, like Chris said, when I'm just at the counter. And what do you think the one little label they had on the counter said? No soliciting, right? No soliciting. So I learned quickly that I don't read that. I don't see that. I look right past that. But I had to have an approach, and my approach just wasn't working real well. Man, I got beat up and down, and my prospect list wasn't strong. And closing, I wish I had that problem. I didn't have any prospects to close, and so prospecting was a big part of it. That is a backdrop. I've been selling for a while. I've been doing this for 10 years, and sold and managed salespeople. Largest organization I had, I was responsible for the U.S. $100 million sales organization with SAP America, if anyone ever heard of them. Big software company, second largest to Microsoft. Oracle's in there somewhere. But that's what I did. So we had to hunt, find, sell, close, and support clients that were big businesses. So today, I want to do a quick exercise. With that as a backdrop, real quick exercise. Take the sheet of paper I gave you, flip it over, pull a pen out, and I want you to answer this first question. I want you to put down, what are 5 characteristics of a quote-unquote traditional salesperson? Just quickly write a couple. You don't have to have 5, but if you could write a couple down. What comes to mind when you think of the word salesperson? I'll give you a minute to work on that. Who's got one? In the back.
Fast talker.
Fast talker. I always get that one. I didn't even ask you to tell me that. Fast talker. Who else had fast talker?
I got pushy.
Pushy. I love that one. Pushy. What else? Manipulative. I hope I can spell that. Who else has one? Annoying and obnoxious. I know I spelled that wrong. Obnoxious.
Newly educated.
Newly educated. Someone just said another one that I just missed. Doesn't listen. Non-listener. Yeah, what? Any others that are hot ones that I need to hear?
False promises.
False promises. Ooh. Okay, so with that as a backdrop, do you think we have a little bit of a challenge entering into a sales conversation with a prospect? Because the scary thing, what question did I ask all you guys just a little while ago? Who has to sell in this room? Almost every hand went up, yet even us who have to sell view salespeople like this. So first lesson is, man, there is a stereotype out there. There's a preconceived notion of what you are before you walk in the room. And how much of this is positive? How much of this, when you wake up in your morning, you're like, God, I'm so glad I went into sales, right? Which follows another question. How many of us were just born a salesperson? And I got the response I usually get, maybe one out of a crowd of 25. Not too many people are born a salesperson. And I was not born a salesperson, right? When I first got a job, that was not what I wanted to do. I spent 4 years studying marketing. I thought I was going to be some marketing genius working in New York City for some big consumer products company. And I ended up selling computer systems, which didn't work out too badly. But man, I was facing this every day, where that's how people viewed me when I put my suit on, when I had my tie up, had my briefcase, and I'm walking up to these places, and the lady behind the counter, who had all the power as I walked up there? She did. And how many college years do you think she went to school?
No.
Not many. And she had all the power over me, who had been trained by the second largest computer company in the world. I had 4 years of college behind me with pretty good grade point average. Yet I would face this person, and I was down here and she was up here. How many people feel that? Right? We feel down here when they're up there. So let's compare and contrast then. If I was to go to the next part of the exercise, and pull your pen out, come up with 5 characteristics of a trusted advisor. What would a trusted advisor sound like? And hopefully many of us have trusted trusted advisors in our life. It could be your attorney. It could be Chris Lipper. It could be, someone in your life that's helping you, mentor you, direct you. Yeah.
Someone who's looking out for your best benefit.
Ooh, beautiful. Looking out for me. Not them, right? That is critical. Chris.
Someone who's relaxed.
Relaxed. Excellent. I saw another hand.
Good listener.
I thought you were going to say good looking. Good listener. Little bit different, huh? Who else has something? Yes?
Honest.
Honest. Yes?
Wise.
Wise. Yep.
A confidant.
A confidant. What else? Right, confident also.
They have your best interest at heart.
Best interest at heart. Okay.
What about patient?
Yeah. And patient. I think we have enough, right? To compare and contrast. How different is this side than that side? How many of us want to be in this bucket versus this bucket? So that's what today is. That's what I'm hoping you walk out of here today with. How can I become a trusted advisor yet in a selling role, right? It almost seems counterintuitive. When we look at this and then look at this, how can I be this when I have to be that? Kind of weird, right? So that's going to be kind of the backdrop for what we're going to do today. So let me go to the next slide. So let's say, again, the perception, and even us, when we're buying, how many of us view salespeople like this, right? And so how do prospects, and sometimes we're the prospect, how do we react to the traditional salesperson? Just looking, beautiful, right? Just look, and usually I do my little scenario, and you're in the furniture business, right? Chris has heard me say this a million times. So you and your spouse decide, hey, this is the weekend, we're going to go buy that red couch we always wanted. And you go down Route 46, and there's all these furniture places. And you actually have saved the money for it. You have the money in your pocket. Today's the day you're going to buy it. You're not sure which one yet. You walk up the front door. The person greets you. The salesperson's there, and they usually have a clipboard, right? They have a clipboard where they take some notes down. And they say, hey, can I help you? What do you say?
Just looking.
Just looking, right? Just looking. And I'm to show you why that happens. That's an automatic defense mechanism that we all are born with because we want to resist that. So we have to understand that's going on with us sometimes, even though we didn't do anything wrong yet. So how traditional people, what you just described is they put their guard up, right? It's like an imaginary wall that goes up between you and the prospect. And if that wall's going up, what do you think's happening in the communication?
There isn't any.
There isn't any, right? They're not listening, right? Number two, the prospects don't trust those salespeople, right? And nothing that you did, right? And you can be out there with your security systems, right? And someone may have had bad experience in something totally different than security systems, but they're looking at you like this, right? Instead of being open arm. Do you ever find they hold their cards close to the vest? What does that sound like? When I throw that up there, think of a deal you're working on now where they've held their cards close to the vest. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
They don't reveal their budgets or prices or anything.
Perfect. They don't reveal their budgets. They don't reveal their pricing, that they've gotten from other people, or if they're already with another vendor, how much are they spending there? What other things they hold the cards close to the vest?
When the timeline of the purchase.
Yeah. Hey, when are we going to buy this thing? Sometimes they mislead that it's going to be right away, and then how many of us have done proposals based on it's going to be right away, and then that thing's sitting in limbo, maybe for eternity. So we're going to take a look at that.